DJ Urban T. DJ Urban T. Yeah. First day on campus, finding my way. She worked in missions every day. Dark skin, slim waist, with a thick ass and a pretty face. Every dude on campus wanted her, not gonna lie, I folded. Started finding her attractive, asked her for her number, she gave me Instagram instead. Made it to class, couldn't focus on the things, scroll through her pictures, wondering where this might lead. Friend zone, that's a place I never planned to be. Friend zone, thought she was falling for me. I thought I was getting closer every single day. Never knew the whole damn time she saw me a different way. I never saw it coming. Friend zone, I'm in the friend zone. I'm in the friend zone. I hit her in the DMs, asked her how her day had been. She hit me right back and the conversation stayed. We talked about life, family, goals and dreams. The more time we spent, the more she meant to me. We ate lunch together, to me it felt special. Every smile meant more, every day together had me wanting no more. In my mind we were building something neither one could break. She was building trust, I was building hope. She found comfort, I was falling deeper though. She saw a friendship, I saw something more. The truth stood right before me, but I couldn't see it before. That's a place I never planned to be. Thought she was falling for me. I thought I was getting closer every single day. Never knew the whole damn time she saw me a different way. I never saw it coming. Friend zone, I'm in the friend zone. I'm in the friend zone. One day we met for lunch, but something felt strange. Her smile that I was used to just wasn't there that day. She pushed food around the plate, barely looked me in the eyes. I knew she was carrying something, she was trying hard to hide. And I said, what's wrong, my lady? She said, I'm fine, but eventually she let me in. Started telling me about problems she was having with the man. She said he wasn't treating her right, she said her heart was wearing thin. Every word she spoke made me wanna step in. I'm not gonna lie, something woke up inside me like I had something to prove. Maybe if I played it right, she'd finally see my value too. So I listened to understand, stay when she needed a friend. Oh, never knowing every step I took was pulling me closer to the end. Friend zone, that's a place I never planned to be. Friend zone, thought she was falling for me. I thought I was getting closer every single day. Never knew the whole damn time she saw me a different way. I never saw it coming. Friend zone, I'm in the friend zone. The little things started changing, at least that's how it seemed to me. She started showing different sides that I had never got to see. Every time I made her laugh, she placed her hand upon my chest. And every time she did, I think I was one step closer than the rest. When life was weighing on me heavy, she pulled me in and gave a hug. Every time she'd hold me close, I take it as a sign of love. The more these moments happen, the more my chances felt real. I started seeing possibilities in every look and feel. Shit, I must have a shot. The more my confidence would climb, Somewhere deep inside my heart, I thought it was only a matter of time. So one day I made my mind up, couldn't keep it all inside. Too many thoughts were building up, too many feelings left to hide. We met up like we always did, but this conversation was brand new. I wasn't there to be a listener, I was there to tell my truth. My heart was racing. As I looked her in the eyes, I said, there's something I've been meaning to tell you for the longest time. I told her how much she meant to me, how she never left my mind. I thought this was the start of us, but the look upon her face wasn't what I thought it'd be. As she stared back at me, I thought she'd tell me she felt the same after all this time. Instead she looked surprised, like she never saw it coming. She said, you know I'm in a relationship, and that's when all my confidence folded. She said, I like you, I really do, but not the way you're wanting me to. You've been a great friend, and I don't wanna lose you. Damn, she said the words I still remember to this day. I feel safe whenever I'm around you, man, that shit cut deep. I spent all that time building hope, while she built trust in me. I thought I was becoming a man, in reality I'm just a friend.
Welcome to the lounge, where we challenge accountability. I'm Urban, and we don't do surface talk here. We use emotional intelligence, thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion, no filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Every beat a question, every bar a lesson. I turn the mic to a mirror, life's a session. Urban in the mix, soul and intellect blend. We ain't just talk truth, we set trends from Dallas to the world. We break that ceiling, no clout, just facts, that's the real feeling. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion, no filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Trap drums drop, but the message don't fade. Every thought sparks like a hand grenade. Faith, pain, love, and drive all collide, that's how minds revive. All collide, that's how minds revive. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion, no filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking. Mind open wide like a city skyline. Every topic shaped by design. The urban lounge where ideas ignite. Late night thoughts under podcast lights. Every episode of thought design. The urban lounge where iron sharp iron. We build from the ground like truth rewiring. Can't fake what's felt when the mic's ignited. If you listening now, you already invited. Thought-provoking, mind in motion, truth be stirring, deep emotion, no filters, no faking. This here, thought-provoking.
Warning, the following image and/or content may be disturbing, offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Real quick community guidelines before we start the show. Now I want y'all to know that this is a space for respectable, thought-provoking conversations. We encourage intelligent discussions, different viewpoints, and respectable debates. Disagree if you want, but do it with substance and respect. Self-promotion is not allowed. This is not y'all billboard. Links, spam, and promotions in the comments or in live chat will be blocked immediately. Distasteful trolling, insults, or bad faith behavior will not be entertained. You will be blocked and banned. No warnings, no back and forth. Finally, y'all will notice that the subscriber mode is on. It is only for 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes. That way we can protect the integrity of the show and also protect the integrity of people who actually want to comment in the comment section faithfully. All right. We're here to think, challenge ideas, and grow, and not derail the conversation. If you're here in good faith, then I welcome you. Y'all enjoy the show. Salute, welcome, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Urban Lounge Podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, my brothers, I am so happy this month. The reason why I am happy is because this month is Men's Mental Health Month. We're not worrying about that LGBTQ, whatever bullshit they got going on over there. We're not worrying about any other type of awareness that's happening in this month other than Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I am happy to do this live stream kicking off Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, I believe that this particular episode is very fitting to start off Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, because I believe a lot of my brothers, including myself, have been through this, right? We'd have been through this and we never probably had the emotional support while going through this. You know what I'm saying? We probably didn't have the answers then when we was going through this. You know what I'm saying? But however, since I have been through this, and I want to just dedicate this to helping brothers who either going through this or have went through this, or if you're still trying to cope through this, because coping, brothers, is most important than anything. Okay. Y'all want to know something? I remember last year, right? I remember last year when I had announced about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? I announced it. I did several episodes all month long, just pouring into men's mental health. Helping my brothers remember. Helping my brothers let them know that you matter. Throughout the whole time, things happen, right? And my moderator, he could attest to this. I remember why I was doing these episodes throughout the whole entire month. I remember a lot of modern women laughing about this. I remember them laughing about this. I remember them making jokes about it. I remember them sitting up here laughing and say that you just got the man up. I remember them laughing up about this and saying that you don't matter at all, period. What's even worse about it, brothers, it was other brothers as well, too, who was laughing about this as well, too, where they believe that mental health don't matter. They believe that since they've been raised a certain way, their mental health don't have nothing to do with men. That's only a feminine thing or a woman thing, but I'm going to call bullshit on that.
That's bullshit.
Mental health affects men just as well as it affects women. So when that situation happened last year, yeah, I took offense to it a lot. I really did. Because we matter. Our mental health matter. And it's not a laughing matter at all, period. It's not a joking matter. It's not a laughing matter. And what's ironic about this, right? What's ironic is that when women's mental health came around, right? I remember the same women who was laughing and joking about men's mental health, right? I remember them coming back and circling around and saying that their mental health matters. And when men start joking about that, when men start not taking it serious, guess what? They instantly became offended. And at that moment, ladies and gentlemen, that's when I said, Now y'all see how the men feel. Gentlemen, mental health matters, period. It do. I have witnessed a lot of my brothers falling victim due to mental health issues. What if it's mental health dealing with relationships? What if it's mental health dealing with them serving in the military? What if it's mental health that's coping through everyday life, period. I've seen plenty of my young fellow brothers fall victim to this. At one point in my life, I also fell victim to mental health too, as well too, where at one point in my life, I had reached the lowest of the lowest. I ended up becoming depressed. I had to figure out some things. I didn't have the emotional support. I didn't have the backing of, the brotherhood to help me cope through the things that I was dealing with during that very, very difficult time. But guess what? I pushed through it. Guess what? I made it through it. So now I'm here with you brothers, because I don't want y'all to go through the same thing that I went through, where I didn't have no support, while I was dealing with more judgmental than actually mentorship. So I'm here right now to be that help that you need, to be that support that you need. So every time when you come over here at the lounge, when we be having different conversations, right, it always be my goal that I want you to get something out of the conversation, whether it's a little bit or a lot, whether it's a little bit of nugget or a full course meal, whatever case may be, maybe a snack, who cares, as long as you get something out of it. Because I want to challenge us. I want us brothers to be the best version of ourselves, like how I am right now with myself. And I'm continuing to be that way every single day. I'm continue to evolve every single day. And that's the same mindset I want you to be as well too, brothers. Because let's face it, and we need to accept this. We need to accept that at the end of the day, we matter. At the end of the day, the world needs us as leaders. The world needs us as leaders. In fact, the young women that we talk about, they need us as leaders as well too. But we cannot be leaders if we're not mentally there. And that is the God honest truth. If we're not mentally there, if we're not mentally where we need to be at, then it's going to be impossible for us to lead anything, let alone relationships. So that's why I say that it matters, brothers. Throughout this whole entire month, I'm going to be doing episodes dealing with men's mental health, dealing with issues that's taboo that people really don't talk about. Case in point, this episode tonight that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this divorce thing, okay? We're going to talk about what it's like for men to normally go through divorce, right? But how do they cope through it? I'm going to talk about some things that probably going to bother some men, you know what I'm saying? And they're probably going to bother some women too, depending on where you at in life. But the whole point of this is that I want us brothers to get to the point where we understand that it is okay to go through this process if this is you. It is okay going through the coping process. It is okay that at the end of the day, you are going to make it. And the reason why I know is because I'm here, brothers. I have been through it. You're going to make it. You're absolutely going to make it. Before we get into this, make sure you hit the thumbs up to support the channel. Rose, what's up with it? Salute. Welcome again to the lounge. Appreciate you, like always, for pulling up. Rose, she said, yes, it does. I wish men were more honest about it and utilize resources. Facts. I agree with you. I agree. Through my personal experience, right, I know the reason why men be lacking the resources. One of the major reasons why men lack the resources is because we feel like that if we go and ask for help, it makes us feel like we're less than a man. Not only that, but it makes us feel like we some punks. Last but not least, it make us feel like we are indeed the victim. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, we really don't want to feel that way. We always want to feel strong. We always want to carry that image of being that Superman, that strong man who could do any and everything. We want to have that image of a man who was egotistical and prideful, but in a good way. Vulnerability is our weakness. And the reason why is because we've been taught not to be vulnerable. Now, when I say vulnerable, right? When I say vulnerable, I'm not talking about dude being hyper emotional, okay? When I'm talking about vulnerable, I'm talking about that we as men need to understand that it's okay for us to be emotional. It is okay for us to open up and express our feelings. But the bad part about it is that we don't vet out people properly who deserves for us to open up our feelings to. We have this bad thing of choosing the wrong type of people, whether it's homies, whether it's girlfriends, whether it's even wives or whatever. We have this bad thing of just choosing wrong. What we do, we end up looking at the physical every single time and not judging the character and the heart. And to be honest with you, it's the exact same way when we be going and vetting our homies and stuff too. We do not vet properly. I believe this is something that we need to talk about for real as men. I do. We need to want to open up about this and be honest with ourselves. Because that's going to be the only way we're going to evolve. We're going to move forward. We have been taught a lot of fucked up traditions, for real, as men. And I honestly believe that the only way we're going to move forward is that we're going to have to denounce a lot of these traditions that we learned when we were younger. And that's just the God honest truth. And the crazy part about this ain't even to show y'all. I just feel like I just need to tell y'all about all this. But, yeah. But, in other words, let's go ahead and get into the main show for tonight. If you're here, you want to hear this thought-provoking conversation, you're here, you want to learn, you want to be educated, you want to hear from my mentality, how do I think about things and perceive it tonight, you're at the right place. So make sure you hit the thumbs up to support the channel. If you're not sub up to this channel, I highly encourage you to sub up to this channel right now so you can participate in the live chat, okay? Because the live chat is where it's at. Because I want you to participate. I want you to ask questions. I want you to challenge my framework as well too. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Go ahead. Go ahead. Be open with it. All right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the main content. Once again, tonight we are talking about divorce. We're talking about how men cope during divorce, okay? How men cope during divorce. Now, question now, what happens after divorce, right? For us, like from a man's perspective. Not before, not doing the arguments, not doing the separations, but what happens after the divorce papers are signed, sealed, and delivered? Because many men, when the real battle begins, is after when the papers get signed, when the smoke is clear. You know, it's funny that people celebrate weddings, people celebrate engagements, people even celebrate marriages, right? But very few people talk about the aftermath of divorce from a man's perspective. And you want to know what's even more crazy about this is that even the women will celebrate each other for having a divorce. Have y'all ever heard of a man having a divorce party? Because I haven't heard of it personally. I have not heard of men having divorce parties, divorce celebrations, or anything like that. But what I have seen and witnessed and actually experienced through my personal experience is that men, they be having sleepless nights after the divorce. When the divorce is happening, they have to worry about showing up on time for the divorce hearings and proceedings, right? When they finally get to the mediation part, they have to deal with that as well too, deal with the attitude behind it, deal with the attorneys manipulating the situation, trying to milk every financial penny out of these persons. And that deals with the financial stress. Then comes the loneliness and the fear and the anger as well too, and the guilt and the shame. And nothing that it goes unseen is the rebuilding process. How did it look like with men? Because we see it through everyday society. We see it through social media. We see it through movies and different things like that. We see the women when they go through coping through the divorce process. There are many women out there after when it's said and done that they end up winning bigger, where they end up getting the house, the car, the kids, the dog, up to about 80% of this dude income. Y'all know these horror stories, which this is true. It's a reality. It happens. So we see all this, right? Then we see them doing the divorce parties and taking trips. A matter of fact, almost a month ago, we did reactions on a woman who went through divorce. And when she got her divorce finalized, she took the dude money and went to Jamaica and had a celebration. But even when we was reacting to that, we didn't see her ex-husband doing any of that stuff. But we're going to talk about it, y'all. We're going to discuss a lot, okay? We're going to talk about a lot of things that happen during this whole divorce thing and how it looks for a man in this perspective. We're going to talk about the cheating part. We're going to talk about irreconcilable differences. We're going to talk about parental alienation as well, too. We're definitely going to talk about the men's mental health part of this as well too. We're going to talk about how and why my fellow brothers will ultimately end up crashing out. We're going to talk about the spiritual battles as well too that they deal with. But with all of that, we're going to talk about the rebuilding process. How did it look like with men? Because many of my brothers, if you're going through this right now, right, we don't know how they look. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to discuss it tonight. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to discuss this tonight, and we're going to apply this to my A.R.D.D.L model that I have created, which is my framework, okay? Now, those of y'all who are familiar with my framework is simply the awakening, the rage, the discernment, discipline, and leadership, okay? So we're going to talk about all of this tonight, all right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this. Now, I do want to share my own framework with y'all, just so y'all could be familiar with it again, all right? Because throughout this whole month, I'm going to be referencing this framework a whole lot, okay? Now, in this particular episode, when you look at my framework, many of my fellow brothers, they're right there at number one. They're number one and getting ready to go into number two as they going through the divorce process. So we're going to talk about it, y'all. We're going to talk about it. I believe that it's fair for me to once again discuss my process behind this, all right? Now, those of y'all who've been following my channel for the longest, y'all know that I am a post-divorcee. I'm a post-divorcee, but I had eventually got back married again. So now I'm remarried and been remarried for going on almost 7 years now. Okay. Happy marriage. Happy, phenomenal marriage. But my first marriage, it was some bullshit. It was some bullshit.
That's bullshit.
All the way. But I believe that, like always, it's better for me to just kind of be transparent so y'all can understand that I know where you're coming from, all right? And by me being transparent, it's not me just, talking down on my ex and stuff and, doing all the red pill bullshit, you know what I'm saying, where you just saying women are bad, men are good, and all that dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? But I want to talk about it in transparency because my goal is that I want you to understand the things that I went through, right? But also, I don't want you to make the choice and decisions that I have made when I was going through it. And unfortunately, a lot of content creators, especially when they dealing with red pill content and dealing with manosphere content, right? They don't be transparent like that. They don't give you the real. They don't tell you like, hey, I literally been through this process and I want to help you get through it because I don't want you to go through the same thing. Many of them, I'm just going to be real about it. Many of them are what is known as grifters, okay? They're known as grifters simply because they want the brothers to stay in this same condition. No matter of fact, according to my framework, they want my brothers to stay at number two, which is the rage. Because they know that drama and rage sells. They know if they could keep them there, they're going to always watch their content. They're always going to support it without pushing them out of the rage and helping them get to 5, which is leadership. Once again, over here, that's not my goal to grift on you. My goal is to literally help you because I know how it feels to go through something like that. I know about the emotions. I know about the decisions that I have made. Some decisions were good. Some decisions was immature as hell. I ain't gonna lie. This is what it is. And I hold myself accountable for that. So let's talk about it. When I was going through my divorce now, after when the papers was filed and all the stuff there, a lot of stuff happened in that household. When the divorce was filed, right, me and my ex-wife, we were still living together. It was her ideal that, or her understanding that when she filed the divorce, right, she believed that I was supposed to immediately leave the household. But that didn't happen because in my mind, I wanted to fight for our marriage. In my mind, I believe that it could be worked out. In my mind, I believe that if I can do certain things right, then it would just work itself out. But it didn't. It just made it worse. So I refused to leave the household, right? Because legally, she couldn't make me leave the household. because we're both on the, at that time, we both was on the mortgage together. So this is what she ended up doing. One day, she had came up with a scheme with her and her family, right? And the scheme was this. The scheme was to create a extreme toxic environment that will allow her to put a temporarily restraining order on me. And that's what she did. Out of nowhere, she just started an argument. The argument got heated. Thank God it didn't get physical, but it was getting there, because I ain't gonna lie, she was pissing me the fuck off, for real. She was saying and doing everything possible to degrade and humiliate me. And so the things that I was telling y'all about, on the show about like stoicism and all the stuff there, in the past, I didn't have all that back then like I have now. So whenever somebody disrespect me, I let them know right off the bat, like, nah, I ain't what this is. And so that's what I did. We going back and forth. It wasn't nothing physical, outside for some pushing or whatever, right? And she used that moment against me to file a temporary restraining order. And she knew that by her filing this temporary restraining order that I had to immediately leave the premises. And that's what happened. From that point on, that's when everything started going downhill. When she filed that on me, right, I had no other choice but to seek out an attorney. And so I ended up spending the last little bit of my money. I ain't gonna forget it neither. I spent the last bit of my money paying a $1,800 retainer just to get an attorney. Paid that $1,800 retainer to get an attorney. He went on my behalf and he created a hearing for us. And the hearing wasn't for the whole divorce thing. The hearing was strictly for the restraining order, because she claimed that the household was toxic and I was the one who's causing it. I was the one who's causing domestic violence, which I wasn't. So we went to a hearing. The judge heard both sides of the story. The case ended up getting dismissed and the restraining order was gone. But unfortunately, the damage has already been done, because at that point, I'm already, I'm already like, I'm just going to move out anyway, because if I stay there, then she's going to try to do this again. She's going to try to create a toxic environment again and again and again. And I'm just not going to put up with it, because if I do, then ultimately what's going to end up happening, that something's bad is going to transpire behind that. So I made a decision to leave the household. I didn't have nowhere to go other than back to my mother's house. And that's where I went. When I went to my mother's house, it was the most humiliating thing that I ever dealt with. The reason why is because, in my mind, I'm a man. I should be able to handle whatever life throws at me. I'm a man. I shouldn't have to go back to my parents' house. But in that situation, it didn't happen. So I felt humiliated. I felt like that 11 damn years is now going to be over, and it's not going to be wasted. 11 damn years of changing, compromising, Within 11 years, the final 6 years of it, dealing with a sexless marriage. All because I'm compromising. So it did something to me as a man. For the first time in my life, I started experiencing a form of brokenness. But in that moment, that's when everything changed. That's when, according to my model, right, that's when I started having my awakening. That's when everything started becoming true and clear to me. That's when I started realizing about how indoctrinated I was according to blue pill ideology. But back then, I didn't even know nothing about red pill, blue pill, and nothing like that. I realized that we have been brought up through blue pill ideology. We have been brought up as men that we're supposed to take and take and take, that our feelings don't matter, that we're supposed to be suckers and simps. We're supposed to do the happy wife, happy life bullshit, that we're supposed to sacrifice and all these different things to make her happy while she's not reciprocating. We have been taught that that's part of a duty of being men, but in reality, that's not the truth at all. That is some bullshit. But that's where my mind was at back then. And even then, my mind was, by me going through it, part of my mind was still fighting like this, having this mindset like this. That I believe that it still could be reconcilable. I believe that even through all this, even through that portion right there, I believe that it could still be salvaged. When I look back at it now, brothers, my mind said it was really pride and ego. It wasn't the reality. It wasn't the truth. And here's another thing, and we're going to have a clip in a minute that I want y'all to take a look at, all right? Here's another thing. What made this situation worse is that I told y'all this. I told y'all that I had married a single mother, right? Meaning that she already had a son. Now, me and her one son, we had got really, really close to the point where at that point he was calling me dad and everything. Yes, at that time I was being a step crash dummy. Yes, absolutely. 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 But we had developed such a relationship with each other, you know what I'm saying, where he was calling me dad and everything because his father was an absent parent. But what made it messed up is that she went back and manipulated her son. She went back and manipulated her son and told him a false story saying that I had put my hands on her when I didn't. That we was being abusive towards each other when it never happened. She made her one son feel like the things that he was going through was part of his fault. And so at this time, he was a teenager. And so now he got to process all of this, right? Here's a man that he knew since he was 3 years old, right? Had to process this man no longer living in the household. And so ultimately ended up leading to this dude, this teenager, started to develop a certain hatred towards me. All because of what his mother was doing. I'm going to continue with the story, but first, let me go ahead and share with y'all this clip real quick. I want y'all to check this out, all right?
Just got back from formally notarizing my divorce. I'm not sure how I feel right now. I'm sad because I know that this whole process has caused me a lot of pain, but also my ex a lot of pain and stress and discomfort. I'm sad for our son, who's 3.5, that this is his reality now. I'm also excited and proud of myself and who I've become, habits that I've built, the life that is in front of me. I'm so grateful that I decided to do the work, to roll up my sleeves and look myself in the mirror and say, what needs to change? The reason why I'm recording this video is an acknowledgement of how far I've come, and the respect and the love that I have for the person looking into this iPhone right now. I'm proud of myself. There's a simple quote that has helped me take control back in my life, and it is this: we wait our whole lives thinking that the Calvary is going to come, never fully realizing that we ourselves are the Calvary. You have the capacity to change your life. You have the capacity to let go of anger. You have the capacity to let go of resentment. You have the capacity to say sorry. It's all in our control. And when we truly adopt that and believe that, watch your life change. If you're in the trenches right now, I get it. It's hard. But you are the Calvary. Choose your state, choose your mindset, choose your actions, because they're yours. They're no one else's. And nobody's coming to save you.
See, I don't think y'all understood that
Just got back.
quite honestly when he said that you are the cavalry. Imagine being a soldier in a battlefield, right? And you by yourself. You know that there are other people that should be present there to help assist you in your time of need. But when you look back, they're not there. They're not present. So you're on this battlefield by yourself. You're dealing with these things on your own. And I want y'all to understand this too clearly. This is something that you have not been trained to do as a man. Once again, this is something that you have not been trained to do as a man. Say I'm lying about that. No men have been trained to deal with divorce. No men have been trained to know how to go through the process of dealing with divorce, pre-divorce and post-divorce. It is something new. It is something that can be scary as well too. It could be something that is intimidating. And so you're dealing with all these different processes that are happening with you: financial, spiritual, emotional. And so you turn back and believing that you have some type of support system, but in reality you don't. And I'm going to tell you the truth about it. The truth is this. Men, the reason why we don't have that support system is because the God honest truth, your fellow brothers do not understand what you're going through unless they have been through it. Now imagine you have this small circle of friends or network, right? All of them are married like I ain't nothing. Or you may have that one friend who's single. But with them being married and single, none of them have not dealt with divorce. So they also do not have the skills or ability to help you navigate or cope through this process that you're going through. The most they could say is like, bro, shit, I pray for you, dog. That's the most they could do. Or they could say, yeah, bro, let's get out the house and go have a drink. That's the most they could do. Because they don't understand that unless they are literally either going through it or been through it. And so you're in the trenches by yourself dealing with this. I want y'all to understand that every divorced man remembers the moment. They remember the moment and it really hit them. Maybe in this situation, right, you as a man, you discovered that the woman that you was with was cheating on you. She found the new love of her life because you wasn't doing whatever it is that she wants you to do. And I'll serve you papers. You didn't even realize that she probably already checked out on you years ago. And she was going through the emotions, just planning and calculating it, because that's what these type of women do. They'll plan and calculate. Even if it take them years, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. They're planning, they're calculating. But in your mind, you thinking that everything is okay. It's okay until when you look past the illusion and see the truth. My boy Lionel, he watch anime, right? There's a show called Naruto, right? And so on the show, these characters could use what is known as a genjutsu, meaning that they could create a false reality. They could create a illusion to make it seem that it's so real that after when they create this illusion, they could take the illusion away, then they could reveal the reality. That's what a lot of men be dealing with in this point. They be in a genjutsu, where they be seeing an illusion. And the woman be giving them that illusion. Then once when the smoke is cleared and that illusion clears up, then they see the reality. Unfortunately, my brothers, that is, according to my motto, that is what is called the awakening moment. The awakening moment where reality breaks through, where you see the truth for what it is. Where your future that you believe that should be happening with this woman disappears. You living happy ever after, not going to happen. All of that disappears. The life that you worked so hard to build is gone. I was doing some research as well too. There's some research that support how heavy this stage can become. Okay, I'm talking about. There's a multinational study found that men's disorders were positively associated with divorce. And it's across multiple categories, including depression and anxiety. Now, for many men, divorce is not simply losing a spouse. Divorce is also losing their self, losing their identity. And believe me, I know about this, because that's exactly how I was feeling. That's what I was processing when I was going through the divorce, where I literally lost myself, lost my identity, lost who I was. Like I always share, whenever I cite different sources, right, and I throw it in there so you can go and check it out for yourself, all right? My own moderator, he got on me, by the way, too. He said that I'm making y'all too lazy. Y'all need to do this shit for yourself, but I don't mind sharing the information to you. I don't mind at all, period. But let's real quick talk about this, and we're gonna get to the next video. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this identity crisis. Now, in my situation, I literally lost who I was. I didn't know who I was, because in reality, I was groomed to be the man that she needed me to be. Once again, I was groomed to be the man that she needed me to be, not the man that I should be or the man that I should be. Unfortunately, this happens a lot in relationships. And in this particular conversation, we could say, yes, it could be universal. Because yes, both men and women, they could lose themselves. They both could be groomed into being something that they're really not. This is the reason why at one point in time, y'all be happy or whatever, then the moment when y'all disagree, the moment when y'all argue, that's when y'all end up getting reset to factory settings, where the thing that you said you wasn't doing, you end up doing it. It's all because of that awakening moment that you've been groomed to be something that you really didn't want to be to begin with, but you decide to compromise. That's what you did. And that's exactly what I did. I decided to compromise. If this is going to help progress our marriage, then I don't mind doing it. But in reality, the moment when I made that choice and decision to participate in that, I already lost myself. And unfortunately, young brothers, we had did the same exact thing where we literally lost ourselves, lost our identity. Sad story. Let's have an accountability moment too, while we're talking about this, all right? Let's be honest. Sometimes we ignore the red flags, men. And I'm going to say it again, sometimes we ignore the red flags. Sometimes we tolerate disrespect. Sometimes we avoid difficult conversations. Sometimes we stay because starting over in reality feels scary to us. Well, Urban, I'm tough. I got tough skin. I'm not scared of nothing. Bullshit. You hear me, bro.
That's bullshit.
You hear me. I want y'all to understand that this awakening part, it hurts because it forces you to face reality. Not the reality that you wanted, but the reality that actually exists. Matter of fact, let me ask y'all this question. I'm kind of curious. I want to pick our brain a little bit, brothers. Let me ask you this question. How many of y'all remember your awakening moment that I'm talking about right now? Where you had that awakening moment, where that moment was like, yeah, yeah, this is not what it is. How many of you had that moment? When you had that moment, did you see it coming? Or were you blindsided behind it? Or you just ignoring it altogether? You just like, Hey, Evan Slew, welcome, brother. Once again, shout out to everybody who's in the building right now. Right now, we're talking about how men cope after divorce, okay? How men cope after divorce. Because we hear it all the time about how women cope after divorce, but we rarely hear how men cope after divorce. How do that look like to them? How do they process that? So we're having this conversation tonight, all right? And once again, I'm sharing y'all my personal anecdotal experience with dealing with divorce as well too, in attempts that it will help you navigate as a man, okay? To make better choices of decision. Don't do the stuff that I did. Don't do it. But yeah. So we got another one video, y'all. We're gonna get to the next segment of this, all right? I want y'all to listen to this.
I was just thinking on my way to this job site that one of my biggest blessings in life came from what I thought was not what I thought, which was one of the most painful moments of my life at the same time, is when my ex-wife asked for a separation, and after a while I came back and asked for a divorce. Even though I didn't really want one, I knew that the situation was done, and I knew me holding on to something that was no longer good for me and hadn't been good for me in a long time, just for the sake of having something and the fear of the unknown and it falling apart and what was going to happen to the kids and all that type of stuff would have just held me back if I held on to it. So I say that to say, sometimes you're holding on to it like this, but you can't put anything else in your hand until you let go. And when you let go, you never know what type of blessings will come back to you. But you gotta let go first. You can't keep holding on to something that no longer serves you. Peace. The sunlight is directly in my eyes right now.
So let's talk about it. The end, he said something that was very, very important, and I want y'all to capture this into y'all spirit. Okay. He was saying that you have to learn to let things go. Once again, he was saying that you have to learn to let things go. I'm going to say this again. You brothers have to learn to let things go. Okay? Why is this so important? The reason why this is so important is because of this, brothers. Brothers, I hear you. Whenever I be putting out my short videos, right, and I do it strategically for a reason. I do it strategically for a reason. Whenever I be putting out my community posts, I hear you, brothers. I read your comments. I watch the interaction between each other as y'all coming in and talking. One thing that I know for certain is this, that a lot of y'all, let's have this accountability moment. A lot of y'all have not let that thing go. Y'all have not let whatever happened to you in that relationship go. You're still holding on to it. And what's messed up about it is that there could be a potential opportunity for you to reconcile into a whole different relationship that could be way better than the one that you was actually in. But by you not letting it go, by you holding on to that baggage and bringing that baggage into another said relationship, that is a curse that you putting upon yourself. Because you won't let it go. Once again, I get it. I understand it, brothers. I know when you deal with the certain type of woman you choose to be with, right? I know that they could be vindictive. I know they could do things to trigger you. I know that they could take things such as, your income, your income, your mind, your children, you know what I'm saying? Your pride, your ego. I know that. I get it. I get it. But brothers, we cannot let them win. We can't let them win. We have to learn to let it go. The only way you're going to get healed is for you to learn to let it go. Now, notice I didn't say forgive and forget and all that bullshit. No, I did not say that. Because I believe that it's also important for you to remember. I believe that it's important for you to not forget. Like that whole Christian concept, forgive and forget and all that stuff, that's some bullshit.
That's bullshit.
No, you need to remember. Because when you remember, when that situation seems like it's getting ready to happen again, and you remember it, guess what? You're going to make better choices and decisions. You're going to make better opportunities of vetting. That's what's going to happen. But if you forget, guess what? You're going to recycle all the way over again. So it's important for you to let that thing go. Because if you don't let it go, it's going to destroy you as a man. And once when that thing destroy you as a man, guess who won? Not you. The person who won is going to be that woman who you had an issue with. She's going to win. Because you have proved her right instead of proving her wrong. The reason why I know about this one, brothers, because at one point in time when I was going through my awakening phase, right, she was doing a lot of fucked up stuff, bro. I ain't lying. That restraining order was one thing, right? But she was doing a lot of fucked up stuff. The thing that she did with her son towards me too, that was messed up too. But she was doing some way more wicked stuff than that. All because in her mind she was hurt, and the reason why she was doing all this stuff to me is because knowingly she was hurt or hurt in, but she felt like in her mind, in her hyper emotional mind, she felt like that I didn't understand how the way she was feeling. And so therefore, she started doing all these different chain of events just so I can understand how she's feeling. And it became vindictive. It became toxic. And to be quite honest with you, her assessment was valid because I didn't understand how the way she was feeling. Because at that time, I was only worrying about how I was feeling. And on top of that, I was worrying about even the implications of how our children was feeling at that time too. So at that time, I didn't give a damn about how she was feeling. But by me processing it like that, it caused this situation to get worse and worse and worse. Now, in my own situation, I'm not sure if the reason why the divorce ended up happening finalized was due to infidelity, because I have no idea. Part of me, like deep down part of me, I honestly believe that was what was happening. But I never found any type of evidence of it. I had some assumptions, right? But I really never had any credible evidence. Now, one of my biggest assumptions was that after when the divorce was finalized and stuff, right, what ended up happening was that it was a guy who lived like 3 or 4 houses down from us, right? She started developing a relationship with this dude way prior before we was going through the situation that we was going through, right? And I noticed it, but I just didn't say nothing. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up, because after when everything was said and done, guess what? She ended up getting into a relationship with this dude. So like I say, I don't have the full evidence if it was any type of infidelity happening within the marriage. I have no idea. But I know that after the fact, that's when that was happening. So some situations, some divorces, it could end due to infidelity or cheating. There are other situations where everybody know about, right, where it deals with irreconcilable differences. A matter of fact, I did also research on this too, y'all. I researched on about infidelity, and infidelity shows betrayal often because it creates emotional trauma, anxiety, depression, and excessive thinking and loss of trust. You know what I'm saying? A matter of fact, Lana gonna get mad at me, bro. Well, here you go. If you want to check that out, check out that article. All right, get you article about all that. All right. Here's the thing about it, gentlemen. Let's say that is your situation, right? Let's say that you were the one who got cheated on. What I'll say is, I'll say, don't allow betrayal to become your identity. Okay? Yes, you were hurt. Yes, you were wrong. But in reality, your future still belongs to you, and you cannot give her that power. Let's say that you was the one who cheated, that you wasn't strong enough and you decided to cheat. How does that look like? If that's you, then to be honest with you, brothers, you got to hold yourself accountable, because when you decide to be in a monogamous relationship, right? When you decide to be in a relationship with just that woman only, right? You have signed a contract. You have signed a legal binding contract, and you also made what is known as a blood covenant upon God. Regardless if you believe in God or not, you have made a blood covenant with God as well too, that you was going to honor this. Now, the only exception to the rule, if y'all enter into this relationship and the relationship becomes a poly relationship or open relationship, and it was discussed before the marriage. But if you got into a one man, one woman relationship and that's the identity of it, and you decide to cheat, you have to own up to that. You got to own that. You got to hold yourself accountable. That's no excuses whatsoever. No blaming. No trying to rewrite the history. You have to be honest and truthful to yourself. You have to be honest and truthful. Explain it to yourself why that you felt like the best course of action was for you to cheat on that woman. What was the number one reason that you decide to do that? Maybe because of like what I said, right? Maybe because of you was in a sexless marriage and you just couldn't take it no more. You needed to get your rocks off. Maybe it was due to peer pressure. Maybe it was due to the pressure of you working and you end up develop a work husband, work wife relationship, and it happened that way. Maybe you just been a straight asshole and you just decided to do it because you want to exercise your option. Whatever the case may be, you have to be honest with yourself. Now, this other thing, like I stated, and we're going to get to the next clip. This other thing I stated, dealing with irreconcilable differences, right? Irreconcilable differences is the number one word that especially modern women use all the time to get divorced. Irreconcilable differences. To be quite honest with you, and it does me. To be quite honest with you, I wish that they would want to regulate this irreconcilable differences thing. Meaning this, I wish that they were just dig deep into what is the irreconcilable differences. Now, if the irreconcilable differences is something that the courts could determine that y'all can work out, then I believe that you shouldn't even get a divorce at all, period. Now, once again, if they regulate this irreconcilable differences, they also have to determine the relationship, meaning that is the relationship toxic or not? Is it dealing with domestic violence or, whatever it is that's happening in their relationship? They have to make that determining factor as well, too. Then, yeah, irreconcilable differences could be used. But you divorcing a person because you just bored and you don't feel like being married no more?
That's bullshit.
I believe that need to be regulated. I believe that the moment you make that choice, that you need to be locked in. Because if that be the case, then why you made the choice to begin in the first place? Why make that choice? In a weird sense, I believe that when that happens, right, that it will make more people hold themselves accountable. Not only accountable, right, but it'll make more people go through the process of really, really vetting out who you want to marry. Because if that be the case and you're not going through the process of vetting them out right, then you could just marry any old damn person. I'm just saying, maybe, but once again, that does me. That is me. I just believe that the irreconcilable differences is just a a cop-out. Unless it's something that really, really happened in that relationship that is toxic as hell, then yeah. Some women say irreconcilable differences because they already then locked in. Yeah, matter of fact, some of these women, they're locked in for 7 years, right? Because they know, according to their state law, is that once when they can lock in at least 7 years, then now they can claim what is known as community property, right? And so they'll purposely stay locked in for 7 years just so they could claim that. And then divorce due to irreconcilable differences. This is very common when you deal with people who are immigrants, right? A matter of fact, I had another story, right, where it was this African woman who worked with me, right? Do y'all know that this African woman who worked with me, do y'all know that she had approached me one day and asked me to marry her? But here's the thing about it. She wasn't attracted to me or anything like that. She only wanted me to marry her due to citizenship. Not only she wanted me to marry her, she wanted me to have her baby as well too. And here's the interesting part. She said, "Oh, I will pay you money. I will pay you $10,000 to do this. $10,000." And she wanted me to be locked in, married to her for $10,000. She wanted me to nut up and procreate with her with another child for $10,000 and hold on to that for 7 years. That afterwards she would divorce due to irreconcilable differences. Some dudes would say, "Shit, $10,000 and I get to smash? Sign me up." Y'all niggas crazy.
That's bullshit.
Because you don't think about the ramifications of that. You don't think about what she's going to do afterwards. You don't think about that after 7 years, she qualified for community property. She know about that, but your dumb tail don't. Part of the community property deals with what? Possession of that child. What is possession of that child? Child support. Especially if that child has been born on American soil. And depending on what state you're living in, right? Not only that, another form of community property is dealing with alimony or spousal support. So do the math. $10,000 versus her taking over $50,000 to $100,000 or more out of all these things I'm mentioning right now. Which one is greater? I'll say bullshit. Don't even do it at all, period. But once again, I'm telling y'all this because that's why I'm saying that this irreconcilable difference thing, it needs to be like regulated for real. It really do. Now, shout out to everybody who's in the building. S. Bunner, what's up with it, man? S. Bunner said it's a deeper problem. Remarriage while the first spouse is still living is automatically adultery. Biblically, yeah, facts. According to the Bible, I agree with you. Let's go to the next clip and we'll get back to my next talking point, all right?
Men don't process divorce like you think. Most men, they don't sit down and process the loss. They instead absorb it. And so divorce hits men less like an emotional event and more like a collapse, a structural collapse. And at first, many men may even feel relief. They're like, "Oh, I'm glad there is less conflicts, less pressure, less stress, more quiet." And that relief gets mistaken for healing. And then life continues for them. Work gets handled, bills get paid, kids get picked up, gym routine tightens. but underneath, something else is going on. They don't realize that their relationship was a place where they found identity, purpose, and worth. And when that structure disappears, the nervous system doesn't panic immediately. It goes numb. And numbness isn't absence of emotions. It's in fact overwhelm of feelings. And so months later, maybe even years for some, that weight lands. And suddenly there is this restlessness and loneliness. Because his body has lost that framework that literally told him who he was. Because the relationship was a regulator. Now, there's an ebook to help you unpack this pain step by step. It's there if you need it. You know where to look. But men don't usually grieve by crying. They grieve by literally continuing, keep going until their system runs out of steam. That's why men often fall apart later in life. And in my experience, most men, they aren't avoiding grief. I think they're just trying to survive first.
Let's talk about it. So in my situation, that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't know how to compartmentalize the things that I was experiencing. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know how they look. I didn't even know the first step of that or anything like that, period. So the only thing I knew what to do is what I was being taught as a man to do, which is continue to live life and have tough skin and keep moving. That's what I did. Kept living life, kept dealing with the stuff that I was dealing with. Kept just pushing, even though deep down inside my mind and my body and everything else is falling apart. Until one day, that's when things start coming down on me for real. It started coming down heavy on me. And for the first time in my life in a long time, since after when my father passed away, well, to be honest with you, there are only certain times in my life that I really cried, like really cried. Not a, like emotional thing, whatever, because of mom, but really just broke down and cried. The first time in my life that happened, where I don't know when it happened, how it happened, and why it happened, but I was just doing something and it just felt like my body just gave up. My body just shut down and I just cried. I cried hard. Because all them emotions started catching up to me. All them emotions, I didn't know what to do with it. And I had it bottled inside of me for so long. And it just finally just released itself. The good part about this, brothers, is that when these emotions release itself, and then the release, for us how, some of my brothers have did, where it released and next thing you know, they start having deleting thoughts. They start having deleted thoughts about not only themselves, but the person who they're in a relationship with, they ex and the children. We done seen reports on this on the news very often where we see our brothers, carry on this right where they feel like that they can't live life no more and they're just going to end it all. They're going to end their spouse, they're going to end the children, and they're going to end themselves. And the reason why we're talking about this right now is once again due to this not know how to deal with this because we have not been taught as men how to deal with this, to deal with these emotions, to express it, because we've been taught that we are sissies if we be emotional. We're punks if we be emotional. We're weak if we be emotional. But in that particular situation, yeah, that's when I felt it. Crazy part about this, oh, you say we have to live for God. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. But crazy part about this is that as all this was happening with my cell phone, I had to go to court. I had to go to court. I had to go and deal with this mediation and the divorce and stuff. You know what I mean? I had to go and make everything official. So I had to pull myself together and deal with this. So went to court, went to mediation, seen her there, man. At that time, man, that woman, she looked demonic as hell. I ain't lie. She was, whew. Her and a lawyer. I'll never forget that day. Her and her lawyer was a piece of work. What made it even worse about it, brothers, is this. Now that I'm thinking about it right. Remember earlier when I told y'all that I had to hire an attorney to represent me, right, so they could get that restraining order taken off. He did that, right? And so afterwards, right, this dude, he wasn't representing me correctly, y'all. In fact, it almost appeared like him and my wife attorney was working together. So there were certain things that I had grievances about. Especially I wanted to bring it up in mediation. So at first he agreed with me. There are certain things like when we was talking about community property earlier, there were certain community property or assets that I did not want her to have because I earned that on my own. So at first he's agreeing with, yeah, blah, 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 whatever, right? We get to mediation, right? This bitch ass dude, right? We get there, and instead of him sticking to the script, he set up her agreeing to everything that her attorney asked him about. Child custody, community property, where she's getting majority of the community property, and the only thing I get is a car. Like, what the fuck? She's getting up to about 60 to 70% of my income. And this is not child support. And he mentioned that as well, too. You hoe ass nigga. Then on top of that, right? Situation became a custody battle because her attorney and she wanted to not only have full legal custody of the children, but she wanted the children's name to be changed to her maiden name and where they no longer have my name. Bullshit.
That's bullshit.
But my attorney was agreeing to it. So I looked at that dude, right? I looked at her. I looked at her attorney and the judge that was mediating for us, right? I looked and I say, you know what? Bro, you fired. You're no longer representing me because this is crazy. Then I looked at the judge and told the judge that I want to reschedule. I want to reschedule this mediation because it is not working in my favor at all, period. So I motioned to get it rescheduled. The judge agreed to it because I believe even the judge was looking at him crazy. So I got rescheduled. And so I had learned something that day. Ladies, those of y'all who are watching right now, you may not be into this situation, right? But this is one of the main reasons why men say that the family court system is not for men, period. Because when you get attorneys, right? When you get attorneys, right? It always seems like these attorneys always favor the women over the men. The only exception to the rule if they know that this dude got money, that they could get something out of it. So I learned that day, and this is the reason why men say this, that the one course isn't for them. I learned that the hard way. But what I learned even more is this. I learned that it had to be some other type of way for me to get what I deserve. I learned that when you're dealing with civil matters with the family court system, right? I learned that you don't even need a damn attorney to represent you. I learned that you can want to represent yourself in situations like that. Guess what? Me being a smart and educated man, guess what I did? I asked for the judge to give me time to present my case. The judge granted it. So I took the time and started researching in my state, researching the family laws in my state, researching what I deserve in my state. Started learning about certain legal lingo to use when I represent myself, when I present my case. So when I learned the system and researching and learned and put everything together, I went back there to the mediation again, representing myself. And here's another thing too, because some of y'all will sit up here and say this dumb shit. You can't represent yourself. You're stupid for representing yourself. Bullshit.
That's bullshit.
I'm gonna tell y'all this, and this is the God honest truth. This is what y'all don't know. The moment when you represent yourself, the moment when you tell that judge that you're representing yourself, you're going pro se, it is that judge's legal right. And it's also your legal right for that judge to help you. The judge got to help you. The judge got to help you in the case as though as the judge is your lawyer. But when he do it right, he would do it in an unbiased way, but he is going to help you. Because that's exactly what happened. When I went and represented myself, her family was laughing. Her lawyer was laughing and blah, blah, blah. But when I presented my case, they wasn't laughing no more. They wasn't laughing no more. So there are always ways for you to represent yourself legally. And I'm talking about just in this situation, civil matters. I'm not talking about some screwed up stuff like screwed up cases. I'm talking about straight cases dealing with family law. Yeah, you can represent yourself. And I saved money and everything. All I had to do is pay the court costs and stuff, which is that getting my information drafted through the clerks and stuff. That's all I had to pay, and that was less than $100 versus spending $1,800, $20,000 or whatever something on an attorney that ain't even for you anyway. It just taking your money, and they know they are. Let's get to the next video, y'all.
When I left the divorce and I felt so just hurt in my heart, bro, I felt like everything I ever knew was just over with. And this person I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, even though I didn't want her next to me, I didn't want her anywhere else. I couldn't fathom the idea of her with somebody else, but I hated her when she was next to me. And the Lord said, get sober. Get sober. And when I got sober, the Holy Spirit revealed to me as I was crying on my knees, asking him to help me to understand why I was feeling like that. He said, it's because you're codependent. It's because your mom, your dad, you haven't forgiven them. And I was like, whoa. I didn't realize how my generational curses, the trauma in me, is why I was seeking out her. And to the point of almost resulting in death multiple times on both of our accounts. And it was never her. It was me. It was the things that I wasn't healing in my heart.
In this segment, we're going to talk about these spiritual battles that men go through while coping through divorce. Okay. And I wanted to get to this because I know that S. Bonner had mentioned this. S. Bonner had mentioned that we have to live for God. Okay. Now, I'll honestly, right, I am also a man who believe in God. I believe in the Most High God. My whole moral compass is centered around that. A matter of fact, before all this stuff, right, while I was in the marriage, right, I was a associate pastor. Yes, I was associate pastor. So we're going to talk about this. One thing that I had learned that no matter how religious you are, no matter how much of a connection with God, no matter how many times you done fasted and prayed, no matter how many times you done gave to the poor, no matter how many times you done gave your tithes and offering, when it comes to dealing with things such as a divorce, when it really tests you and push you to your very limit, right? And these situations right here, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. These situations, this is the time where you're not gonna hear God. You're not gonna hear his voice. But what you are gonna experience is this. You're going to experience people who's gonna judge you. You're going to experience people who's going to judge you on a catastrophic level. Because they believe in their religion that you shouldn't be going through the stuff that you're going through. They believe that in your religion that you're not only a man, but you're a man of God, and you have to carry this burden. They believe in the suffrage doctrine. And y'all know what the suffrage doctrine is, right? The suffering doctrine is dealing with the book of Job. They believe that a man should suffer for the glory of God. That all sound nice and cool when you want to quote the scriptures and do all this stuff, right? But when you literally get put into the fire and you really deal with stuff for real, like for real, it hits real different. I want y'all to understand that many men do not experience emotional pain after divorce. Well, let me reword it this way. Many men do not only experience emotional pain after divorce, but they experience spiritual pain as well too. And then questions start coming up, what happened to me? Questions start showing up and I start questioning God. I start questioning, did I fail God? Did I fail my family? Did I fail my children? Did I fail as a husband? Shoot, did I even fail as a leader? Because when you look at divorce, it honestly feel like that is a broken relationship for real. God honest truth. God honest truth. Access Ron, what's up with it, bro? Salute, welcome. Danny, what's up with it, man? But it's a God honest truth. It feel like a broken relationship. Feel like my purpose was broken. It feel like everything that I was promised by God was broken. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like that my identity was broken as well too. But these are things that you don't hear men talk about. Because once again, we're designed to be strong. We're designed to, well, what's the religious thing that we say? Oh, carry our cross. We're designed to carry our cross. Take it. While we taking this stuff, right, we're being broken. We're experiencing the same type of neglect. And I don't mean to put it this way, y'all, but it's the same type of neglect that those of y'all who follow Christianity, right? It's the same type of neglect that Jesus felt with God, man, on the cool though. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? When Jesus was on his way to Calvary, right? And he was carrying his cross. This dude went to, first of all, they had did a fake trial on this dude to try him for something that he never did. Did a fake trial on him. Then afterwards, they ended up humiliating him, which is stripping him of his clothes. Then they decided that, you know what? We could do even worse than that. They decided to whoop this dude with some cat and iron whip. They said, shoot, that's not good enough. Let's make this fool carry a cross to his death. So they literally had this dude do all of this, right? And be humiliated. And through this whole entire time, that's where the famous words that Jesus has said in the Bible. Y'all know what I'm going to say, right? Not my will, but your will be done, right? But I kind of challenged that. Now, I know it's just, but I kind of challenged that. Why did it have to be God's will and allow for him to go through that process by himself, to go through that extreme thing by himself with no answer, no support, nothing? Why am I mentioning this? The reason why I'm mentioning this is because that is how similar. That's how similar I have felt in my situation. Why I literally felt the same exact way. Not in that extreme what he went through, right? But it was close enough spiritually. Where people were slandering my name. Hell, my own damn family was sitting up here while I'm questioning everything as well too. When I'm telling them the truth. Walking completely by myself. And keep in mind that in these situations, right, I did not know how to process none of this. I wasn't taught how to process none of this. I had to deal with it. So that's why I'm on parallel that, because I honestly felt the same exact way. Why I felt that I was alienated. That God wasn't listening to me. A matter of fact, those of y'all who follow my channel, right, I have put out a song called My Beef with God. Y'all go check it out on my DJ channel. But that song, Beef with God, explains how the way I was feeling in that situation. So we go through a lot of things dealing with this, right? Even still to this day, I always ask the question. Through all of this, what lesson was God teaching me? What was it that I was trying to learn? What weakness that I needed to address dealing with this? What character flaws that needed to be corrected? And how can I become better instead of, being bitter? I see y'all coming, so I'm gonna address it in a minute, y'all. I'm addressing Lionel. God damn it, I'm gonna address it, bro. But I'm thinking about it. There's some scriptures I'm thinking about. Psalms 34:18. Psalms 34:18. It talks about a brokenhearted man, right? And then I'm also thinking about like Romans chapter 8:1, what it's dealing with, no condemnation, right? A lot of people, right, when they was doing a judgmental thing on me, they always reference me to Matthews 11:28, talking about rest for the weary and all this stuff. You got to help in the Lord, Oh, shit. By me thinking about it now, while I'm sharing this with y'all, I could look back and say that there's a difference between conviction and condemnation. You know what I mean? Because I understand now that conviction teaches, but condemnation is what destroys. On conviction, it talks about that, you have to learn, you have to grow, you have to improve yourself. You have to repent, you have to become a better version of yourself, which in this version of myself, that's where I'm at now. But however, condemnation, it says that you're finished, you're a failure, your life is all over. And that's what other people was doing to me, condemning me instead of convicting me. Now, if y'all enjoying the stream, make sure you support the channel by hitting the thumbs up. Appreciate you a whole lot. We do have a sponsor, and I'm going to get to the comments as well. So let me go ahead and deal with the sponsor real quick. Brian Fitzgerald, what's up with it, bro? Like I always say this, I feel everything you're saying, brother. I got divorced 2 years ago. I made an album about my experience. Hey, I gotta check that out, bro. Divorce music by Another Level. It's on YouTube. I promise it will bless you. I'm going to check that out, brother. I'm going to definitely check that album out for real. A matter of fact, I'm not only check it out, sure, I'll even play the album too. I'll check it out for sure. For sure. But appreciate that. Appreciate the $9 super chat. Appreciate you sponsoring this stream. All right. And so I hope that the things that I'm sharing with y'all tonight, it does give you a different perspective for how, if you are dealing with divorce, right, or if you have dealt with divorce, how you could go through the process of coping. Because I believe that many of my brothers, we still haven't transitioned out of this yet. Many of my brothers are still stuck in red pill rage right now. And I want to get y'all out of this, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to be healed. Let's go back. Yeah, access and wrong. What's up with it? How you're urban? Glad you're speaking on this topic. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Let's see. Danny, he said not stink earlier, but I'm back. I don't care, bro. The whole point of the sexual revolution was to break up the nuclear family. Now, if you're talking about feminism, then yeah, I agree with you on that, because we talked about that before over here at the lounge. Yes, feminism was designed to break up the nuclear family. But however, in this conversation, we're not talking about per se feminism. You know what I mean? Black Hole, what's up with a salute? Welcome, welcome. It is not a marriage culture. Divorce need to be outlawed. Interesting point. Catholic Church had government power and outlawed divorce for 300 years. And that is a biblical and historical fact. I agree with you. Emmanuel said, congratulations on the 50K subs. Appreciate y'all. Matter of fact, thank y'all so much for supporting the lounge. We have made it to 50K subs. Thank y'all so much. And we're just in the beginning of this. We're in the beginning of this. We got a long way to go. Because there are a lot of things that I want to share with you, brothers, that I want to help y'all, all right? So we got a lot of things, a lot of work to do. But I appreciate y'all. Appreciate you. Ron, he said this, once when I removed my emotions from my extreme experience, things became easier to navigate. Because chaos and crisis situations don't have emotions. They just happen. And also, this is why I mentioned earlier, and also in my other streams, saying that it's a difference between you being a emotional male versus being a hyper emotional male. When you are a emotional male, what are you doing? You're acknowledging that you're a human being and you have emotions, but however, you're learning to not only process it, right, but you're learning to cope and deal with them in a healthy way. But when you're a hyper male, right, hyper emotional male, you don't think like that. You just let your emotions just go haywire and you do crazy things and end up becoming toxic, where ultimately you do bad toxic things such as trying to unalive somebody, be part in domestic violence situations, or even worse, you didn't learn nothing about the lessons that you learned in your prior relationship. You have baggage and you bring that baggage into the new relationship, and guess what? The process go all the way over again. That's what hyper emotional males do. But I don't want you to be a hyper emotional male. I want you to be an emotional stoic male who moves with purpose. Let's get to the next clip, y'all.
Life after divorce from a man's perspective. I had a guy inbox me and ask me what's life been like for me after divorce, and I assume that he's going through a divorce currently and is trying to mentally prepare himself. Hopefully he sees this video. I think he will. I think people forget that men also have emotions and we also go through things mentally. We may not vocalize them or say them out loud majority of the time, but we also hurt. We also feel pain and regret as well. I think that society has made it kind of taboo for a man to say, I'm hurting or I feel a certain way. And I'm very emotionally intelligent, so my emotions were all over the place at the time, and it took a while for me to get back to myself, honestly. For me, it was very eye-opening, and it took me a while to come to the realization that I was by myself and she was no longer going to be here. We were together 5 years, so I was used to having her presence and always having a plus one and somebody who matched my energy and my vibe. So when she left, it took a while for me to gather myself. Not even to mention like the financial aspect of it, but also the mental aspect of it. This was my best friend. I married her. We had about 5 miscarriages together. Then we had my son, who was a rainbow baby. So for her to be gone, it was like, damn, like, who am I now? Because obviously when you get married, you become one. So I lost myself. After the marriage, I lost myself and my identity. So it took me a while to recollect myself and to reevaluate my life. It took a while for me to start dating and trusting women again, honestly, because like this is my best friend, now she's gone. You won't think that people don't get married to get a divorce. So when she left, it took a while for me to trust another woman on that level or with my emotions. So now I am actively dating. I'm healed, I'm over it. So yeah, I think that is the best way I can possibly describe it without going into deep detail. I hope that helps you out, bro.
So let's talk about the silent pain that men go through. And I believe that this particular portion of this show is very vital because, once again, like I stated to y'all earlier, those of y'all who didn't join me earlier for the show, I mentioned to y'all that this month is Men's Mental Health Month, okay? Once again, this month is Men Mental Health Month. And I want y'all to grasp this understanding that you do matter, brothers. You do. You absolutely do matter. Your mental health matters, especially either going through a divorce or going through post-divorce. It matters. But what about our emotional pain? What about us suffering quietly? What about us, we have to go to work, we have to pay the bills, we have to still fulfill our obligations and responsibility, we have to do a fake smile in public. What about that? But probably we're still struggling. What about that? I actually did research on this, and the research that I did was this. I researched that men after relationships breakdown found that many men struggle with emotional isolation. Not only with emotional isolation, but with mental health challenges as well too, and barriers to seek help. And yes, I do got the one data for you, so you can check it out during your leisure time, all right? Here's my source where I quote that from. You can check it out. That's actually a really great article, by the way, that I want y'all to read. But many men don't ask for help because they have been taught, once again, to handle it yourself. We've been also taught to man up, keep it moving, don't complain, but literally suffering in silence. But I want y'all to understand this, brothers, that suffering in silence is not the same as healing in silence. Okay? Because if you're suffering in silence like that, it becomes isolation. Then from isolation, it becomes depression. Then from depression, it becomes hopelessness. And brothers, I have dealt with this step by step. I dealt with the isolation. Then that isolation became depression. I became depressed. Then from depression, it became hopelessness. Now that situation I told y'all earlier when we was going through the mediation process and stuff like that, we fighting for custody and stuff, and it just seemed like at the moment things was just not working in my favor. That depression went to hopelessness. Now, I want y'all to still understand this. Even though that I had an issue with God, I never stopped believing in God. I never stopped believing and trusting God and nothing like that. I just have beef with God because God is not answering my prayers. But even then, right, I was still depressed and feeling hopelessness. I feeling like that things was never going to change. It seemed like every single time I touched something, it just got worse. It just got worse and it got worse and it got worse. Brothers, this is when I had entered into what is known as red pill rage. Because I didn't know what other thing to do. I'm depressed. I'm feeling hopeless. I'm mad as hell because it seems like she getting everything and I'm not getting nothing. So now I'm mad. Now I'm enraged. And what was even interesting about this situation is that every woman that I seen reminded me of her. Kid you not. It could be women I never met before in the day before my life. It could be a woman walking at the store. It could be women I see on YouTube or whatever, right? I just see them. Look at this bitch. that was exactly where my mom was at. Look at this bitch. I bet she gonna sit up here. I bet she doing the dude wrong right now. And so my mindset enter into that red pill rage moment where I ain't gonna lie, I'm sure I was hating women for real. All because of this one. And all of them looked at the same to me. It looked like her. Kid you not. And it frustrated the hell out of me. Made me something. It pissed me the hell off. But thing about it, brothers, is that a lot of our brothers are in this red pill rage right now, where they see that woman the same in every woman. Even if, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you just said, forget women, the only thing I'm going to do with a woman is smash her, right? Even when you want to decide to do that, right, just to get your rocks off, right, you still see your ex. And now, instead of you enjoying the moment, you sit up here smash her because you mad. You bitch. And treating her like that. And making mistakes. Is it okay for you to be in this moment? That's a question you should be asking yourself. Is that okay? In that current state, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that is a emotion that you're dealing with right now in that moment. So I believe that you need to deal with that emotion in that moment. But I will also say this. I'll also say that you should have stayed in that condition. And that's what's happening with a lot of my brothers right now in these spaces where I see them, they're standing in this condition. They're not overcoming it. They're letting this situation overcome them. They're letting it dictate and control them. Shouldn't be that way, brother. Expressing this the way that you're expressing it. Why? And start dealing with it. Because if you don't deal with it, then it's going to destroy you. It is definitely going to destroy you. And the sad part about it, brothers, is that they almost did that to me. It almost did that to me. It almost messed me all the way up, for real. Now, show this for y'all real quick.
As a parent who's gone through a divorce with kids and also helped several clients and customers and friends go through divorces and kind of navigate that situation, what I can tell you is one of the biggest mistakes that parents make is forgetting that this has such a greater impact on the kids than it will ever have on either of the parents. And by the way, my name's Josh Holyfield. I'm the owner and founder of Alpha Forge Coffee. I decided I want to start doing a morning segment called Coffee Talks, where basically I jump on here every day or at least a few times a week and offer some conversation to you guys, while also hopefully offering some advice, some insight, or telling an entertaining story. So look forward to these segments. If you're interested, drop me a follow. But again, like I was saying today, I remember when I was going through my divorce back in 2017, 18, it was tough for me mentally. Like I felt like I had failed. There was a lot of emotion involved. anger between my wife and I, frustration between her and I, and the kids were kind of caught right in the middle. One of the things that I failed to realize until much later was, well, two things. The first is, again, my kids, they didn't choose this. They wanted to live a life where their parents are together and happy, and they didn't have to choose, right? And then the other thing too, and this is something that's going to be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, is when you chose to have children with your significant other and got pregnant and went through that whole thing, regardless of what the circumstances, you were married, it was a one night stand, whatever, like you guys collectively made a decision that you were going to bring a human being into the world. And when you did that, you made a commitment to that human being. You promised them that they were going to get a life worth living, a life that they deserve, something where they're going to have both parents. And when you split, you failed to fulfill that commitment to them. Yeah, sure, kids are resilient. They're going to kind of figure it out and make it through that, but that doesn't make it hurt any less, okay? And I can tell you right now, the last thing that they want to do is have to feel like they're being forced to choose between their mother and their father. And inevitably what's going to happen is they're going to come to a point where they do have to choose. And if you're not the parent that gets chosen, don't make it about you. So if you're a parent going through this, my piece of advice for you is make sure everything you do is about the kids.
In this segment, we're going to talk about parental alienation, okay? This particular segment, to be honest with you, brothers, this segment is still to this day very tough for me, for real. Very hard. I'm not going to lie, this particular segment always had me emotional. Not hyper emotional, but it has me pretty emotional. The reason why, brothers, is because when I was going through my custody battle with my children, right? This woman, she was doing so much to cause parental alienation, not only just legally, right, but she was doing things to literally groom and manipulate our own children to have them be against their father. She was sitting up here falsely representing me, saying things that wasn't true, and their children was hearing about it. I remember one day when I had custody with my children, right? Because we was doing a visitation thing where it wasn't fully built into our divorce yet, but we just doing this visitation thing. And I remember one day, my children, they came up to me. They said, Dad, can we talk to you about something? And I said, fine. What's up? They told me that they felt sad and angry that me and their mom was going through this divorce. They told me that the children at school had found out about it, right? And the children was making fun of them. They asked me the question why. My oldest son, he felt that it was his fault. He felt that maybe he wasn't doing enough to be a great son. Now, this is my actual son, not these stepson, my actual son. He felt that he wasn't doing enough. He was feeling that it was his fault. And so when I was explaining all of these things to me, and not to mention the bullshit that she was doing to them as well too, it broke me for real. It broke me so much so. See, I don't know if y'all been through this, okay? I don't know if y'all been through having your own children come and talk to you and plead to you about something that's bothering them, right? And they look up to you as being not only the father, but being the hero. Being the person who could always solve problems. But in this particular moment, as they was expressing to me, it broke me. It broke me down because for the first time in my life, I honestly did not have an answer for them. I never had an answer for them, period. I just didn't have no answer. I just didn't have no answer, no solution, no nothing. I didn't know what to say. It came to the point where they was asking me Dad, are we going to lose you as a dad? And we're going to end up getting a new dad? Because so far, that's how the way it seems. It seems like we're going to lose you as a dad, and we're going to get a new dad. But I don't want to lose you as a dad. And I don't want a new dad. I want you to be my daddy. My youngest daughter, she, with everything in her, wanted me and her mom to work out. Even still to this day, she's a teenager now. Even still to this day, and we divorced and I'm remarried and everything now, happily married. But she wanted things to work out between her and her mom, but it didn't work out. So, brothers, let me ask y'all this question. Just by the stuff down I'm sharing with y'all right now, how would you process that? How would you handle that? How would you handle if you have children and your children would come to you like that? How would you process that? What would be your response? How will you be feeling in that very moment? These are questions that, we should be asking ourselves when dealing with situations like this. Because if we don't ask these questions right, if we don't put it out here, then how are we going to be able to learn and grow? How are we going to be able to do what is known as earn, sharpen, earn? The good part about this, brothers, is that at the end of the day, my young children, they really, really gave me the will to fight. Because I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to lie to you. Can I be real with y'all? I'm not going to lie to y'all. When I was sharing with y'all earlier that I reached to that point of hopelessness and depression and stuff like that, right? I ain't going to lie to y'all. It was to the point where I was just literally giving up, for real. I was literally giving up. But some way, somehow, my children gave me the will to fight, gave me a greater purpose. And so that's what ended up happening. Because I didn't want them to grow up without me being in their life, unless something naturally happened while I pass away. That's different. But long as I'm present in their life, it was no way in hell I was not going to not be in their life. So they gave me a reason to fight. They gave me a reason to, no matter what was happening, to fight. Not only for this myself, but fight for a greater purpose of fighting for them, because they deserve it. Just like what the gentleman mentioned on here, and this is why I shared this video. The gentleman mentioned on here that it is not their fault. It's not their fault that we decided to get a divorce. They don't have nothing to do with this, but unfortunately, they become casualties. But people don't think about it like that, because they be so caught up in their feelings, in their emotions. They don't think about the children. They don't think about the emotional toll that it takes on the children. They don't think about when they go to school, children will manipulate them and bully them and stuff about their situation. They don't think about stuff like that. They're only worrying about their own personal self. But anyway, the silver lining behind this, that when I fought, right, and I fought, the silver lining behind this story is that at the end of the day, brothers, I represented myself to the best of my ability, and I had got everything that was deserved. I have full joint custody with my children. Our relationship didn't decrease, but it actually increased even more. She didn't want to take every damn thing that I had, and I literally pick and choose the things that I wanted her to have and not have. And the only worst case scenario that came out of this situation is me paying child support. And that was it. That was it. But other than that, even still to this day, I came out fighting and came out strong. And you want to know the remarkable thing about this gentleman? Yesterday, I had the privilege of watching my older daughter walk, meaning that she had graduated yesterday. She graduated from high school. Had the honor and privilege of watching her walk and graduate. And this girl had been through a lot. I mean, a whole lot. And in that moment yesterday, and I watched her walk, and she received her diploma. Then afterwards, she came and she ran and hugged me. She said, "Daddy, I did it. I did it. You told me, Daddy, not to give up. And I did it, and I did it." Man, that was a proud moment. Now imagine if I would have given up a long time ago, while I just finally just crashed out and gave up and just said, fuck it. Imagine that. Imagine the toll it would have had on her, not only her, but on her other siblings as well too. So gentlemen, I understand that parental alienation is real. It is a real thing. it is. I understand that there are women out there who are vindictive as hell, and they'll literally weaponize the children just so they could get what they want. In this particular segment, I want to encourage you, gentlemen, that if this is a situation that you're either going through or have been through, whatever the case may be, right, I want to let you know that you have your legal rights to your children. That's only if you want it. It's only if you want it. And only if you're willing to fight for it. Because just like what this gentleman in the video said, at the end of the day, we also got to hold ourselves accountable because we the one who decided to procreate with these women. We the one who decided to do that. Yes, it's true that women control their access to sex. Absolutely, that's true. But however, it is also true that in order for that to happen, guess what? We as men have to be willing participants. If you're not a willing participant, then it's not going to happen. So we got to want to hold our own self accountable as well too. We have to, as they say, swallow that pill. We got to, gentlemen. Let's get to this. We almost done, y'all, tonight. If you're enjoying this content, man, make sure you hit the thumbs up to support the stream. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm giving it to y'all in a different way. Now, notice y'all over here at the lounge, we're not talking down on women. We're not being, anything and stuff. I'm just giving y'all truth, all right? So it can help you as a man, okay? Let's listen to this. Or is it this one? Yeah, we're past that point. Let's listen to this.
You know, I just left the gym, about to hit the beach or whatever. And, one thing people don't talk about, bro, especially from a man's perspective, is how much it takes for you to bounce back after, losing your family structure, going through a divorce. And, to anybody that's going through that, I want to tell you, like, when I went through my first year, I was like, all right, that ain't nothing, I'm going to bounce back. And the problem is when you a man, 9 times out of 10, women hate accountability, generally speaking. So you got to deal with false allegations. You got to deal with, shorty trying to, take kids from you and, going to court, all that kind of stuff, right? But eventually, the lies, bro, eventually, there's nothing they can do but watch you shine. You know what I'm saying? So year 2, you start getting a little bit more stable. You start, establishing or reestablishing whatever type of goals or whatever type of relationship you got with your kids, you know what I'm saying, if they didn't try to lie and separate you from them, right? But I'm gonna tell you something, bro, this third year, bro, that's when it starts getting good. That's when you start getting your groove back, where you start, seeing opportunities where certain things, because I'm telling you, when you walk away from somebody, bro, it'd be so crazy, because you're like, I used to sleep with this person like every night. You know what I'm saying? It's like a psychological mind fuck, because you like, how could this person do this much to me and all I tried to do was be there for him? You know what I'm saying? How come we can't just go our ways amicably? But with the women, it's always got to be the man's fault. So you got to take the first year, you got to take the community talking crazy about you. Second year, it's like, oh, now I'm in the third year in my divorce, and now everybody's seeing who the problem really was. You feel me? So I just want to encourage anybody, bro, that's going through separation, going through divorce. Take your time and pace yourself, bro. Because I promise you, I thought year 1, I was going to be bouncing back. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? It's just now taking me in my 3rd year, bro. In my 3rd year of divorce or whatever, bro. I'm just getting back to where, I'm actually doing better than what I was. You know what I'm saying? But I had to go through this process of, like, literally changing my whole mindset, changing my life, changing the way I perceive situations. So allow yourself to have grace, bro. And don't never let nobody tell you that you're not healing quick enough, bro. Because when you decide to get married, that's a forever thing. You never expect that you're going to break up with this person or have to have beef or go be at odds. Give yourself time and grace, bro. But I promise you, eventually, once you get up and you really start grinding, you're going to see it's beautiful on this other side. I ain't talking, I'm living it. That's it. That's the post.
let's talk about the rebuilding phase, because I believe that the rebuilding phase isn't discussed a lot, especially during post-divorce. Okay. So let's talk about this. The rebuilding phase is simply, according to my framework, is basically the discipline stage. Okay. So you done went through this whole process. You done been awakening. You didn't deal with your red pure rage part where you're raging now, crashing out, whatever, right? You're overdone with it. You passed that part. Now you want to discipline yourself. Now you're rebuilding yourself. Now you're getting to the point where you're starting to get your stride. Now, the thing about it is that you got to understand that you have to give yourself time and purpose, because you're literally restructuring yourself all over again. Why is this important? It's because you got to understand that you had literally built your life around this person. And like I mentioned before, what many men tend to do is that they'll literally lose their identity over a woman, where they build their life according to what the woman wants out of him. And then she rarely reciprocate. So you can't have that same mentality while you're in the rebuilding phase. You have to rebuild yourself all over again. Give yourself purpose. Give yourself grace. Wherever your worldview is, wherever your belief system is, wherever your moral compass, whatever you believe in, it has to be restructured all over again. Because if you don't do that, then guess what? You're creating what is known as baggage. And you don't want that, because you will never heal from it. You'll never unpack that baggage or anything, because it's going to be too much for you to bear. You could simply say, well, Urban, I'm religious. I could give it to God. Nah, bro. Nah. Because also spiritually in the Bible, it says this. It says that faith without works is dead. What do that mean? Is that you could believe in faith that God will help and deliver you from, what you put into the baggage, right? But it is your responsibility to put in the work and make it happen. Not God, you. This is the same thing that I had to do. I had to rebuild myself. When I rebuild myself, that's when I start healing. Start seeing things differently. I start no longer seeing my ex in every woman I encounter. And it will be the same thing with you as well too, brothers. Where you start rebuilding yourself, you start healing yourself from that traumatic experience that you dealt with. Because yes, relationships can be traumatic. Absolutely can. But when you rebuild yourself and give yourself more purpose, then you'll see the truth. Now, I say this often too. I believe that marriage isn't for everyone. Okay? Once again, marriage isn't for everyone. There's this stigma, especially, dealing in communities, in the black community, whatever stuff, right? There's a stigma out here where they believe that if a man don't get married, then he don't have purpose. That is a bullshit.
That's bullshit.
You can have just as much purpose being a single man. Now, I want y'all to understand this clearly too. I'm not telling you to have this mentality so you could hate women. No. I'm saying that you can still live your life with purpose without a woman. But however, if you believe that you need a woman in your particular moment in your life, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you believe that you don't need it, then it is nothing wrong with that. That's why over here, I don't advocate to try to push for every man to get married, because I believe that every man don't supposed to be married. I believe that it's some men that supposed to be single, just like I believe that it should be women who are single. They don't need to be married. So I don't push that, because now I understand the truth behind all that. There's some men you're built for that. You're built for marriages, and other men you're just not built that way. So don't try to force yourself into something that you just not at all. Period. Yeah, it does. It feels the same way breaking up with the fiance, because technically speaking, fiance marriage is the same damn thing. The only difference is that you just didn't sign a contract yet. You can even say the same thing about common law marriage. Same as that concept. The only difference is that you just didn't sign the legal document, which is a marriage license. There's the only difference between the two. But yeah, absolutely, I agree. Last video for tonight, y'all. And I want y'all to pay attention to this one too, for real.
Most men think divorce is the end. And I used to think that too. Until I realized it's not the end. It's an initiation. And most men will fail it. Not because they're weak, but because nobody tells them what it really is. See, everything gets ripped away from you. The house, the routine, the identity that you built around her. You finally meet yourself. Not the version that was trying to keep the peace. Not the version that was bending to make everyone else comfortable. The real version of you. And if you're honest, a lot of what you built your life wasn't even yours. It was for her, for the image, for the family you were trying to hold together. I know that because I lived it. I gave everything to someone who didn't give it back the same way. And when it collapsed, I didn't just lose a relationship. I lost who I thought I was. There were nights I was ready to quit. I was ready to disappear. Ready to say, this isn't worth it anymore. And that's the part that nobody talks about. But here's what I figured out throughout this process. That breaking point, that's the doorway. You either let it bury you, or you walk through it and become someone that you've never been before. Walking through it isn't pretty. It looks like sitting alone with your thoughts when everything in you wants to run. It looks like letting go of things you thought mattered and realizing they never did. It looks like you rebuilding your life based on what you actually value, not what you were told to value. Because most men in marriage become people pleasers. They want to please the one person in their life that's controlling everything. We sacrifice who we are to keep everything calm. We trade our standards for approval. We trade our identity to keep the family together. And then we wonder why we feel empty. Your divorce didn't happen to destroy you. It happened to show you who you were when you abandoned yourself. And that's the truth people don't want to hear. And if you do this right, if you stop numbing it, stop running from it, and you actually face it, you come out of this completely different, stronger, clearer, and unshakable. Not perfect, but present. A better man, a better father, a man who finally knows who the hell he is. But you don't get that version of you without getting through the dark times. You don't get clarity without confusion. You don't get strength without pain. So if you're in it right now, good. That means you're in the process. Don't waste it. Because this pain, this is where you either fold or you become dangerous in the best way fucking possible. A man who doesn't abandon himself anymore. A man who stays, no matter what. Follow me, because we're building something great, and I want you to be a part of that.
Final one segment for tonight. Now we've been talking a lot about how to cope with divorce. Now some of y'all may not be married, and you may be considering getting married. And that's fine, because this stream is also for you, so you can be educated about this. Because like I told y'all earlier, all these things I didn't know nothing about until I experienced it. So I believe that if you are a single man, or you could be engaged to be married, whatever the case may be, right? I believe that when you're seeing this link on YouTube, right, and you click on it, I believe at this moment in time, this was for you to watch. Okay? And I believe that with everything in me. Now at the end of my story, right, I came out way stronger. I came out wiser. I came out with understanding. I came out with clarity, with purpose. I have went through hell and back and survived it. And I want y'all to understand this, those of y'all who are watching right now. If you're here watching right now, I believe in this purpose. And this purpose in this moment right now is meant for you, to show you that you can survive this as well too. You can deal with it. To show y'all also the truth about marriage as well too. Yes, it is true that marriage takes work. It takes effort. It is also true that it is very, very, very important for you to choose wisely who you decide to marry, let alone procreate with. You have to be strategic, for real. Just like how we're strategic about our careers, right? How we're strategic about a type of car that we want, then we'll work on getting that type of car, right? Just like how we strategic about watching different sporting events like football, basketball, hell, FIFA World Series, whatever the case may be, right? We're strategic in all these different areas, but when it comes to relationship, we end up fucking up. We have to be strategic, even in relationships. We have to be very, 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 very picky about who we're going to choose to be a part of our life. We have to be very picky who we choose to sleep with. Because if we're not leading like that, then this situation where we dealing with, especially with modern women and them manipulating us, them taking our money, they're manipulating us to get free meals and stuff like that. If we're not strategic, if we're not wise with it, then we're going to fall for this bullshit every single time, gentlemen. So it's very vital. It's very vital for us to be strategic. Very vital for us to vet out properly. Don't just allow your eyes see the beauty of the woman. You just stay there. But it have to be more than that. She have to have substance. Because I don't want us to fall for this anymore. I'm tired of us going back and forth arguing about this. Tired of us going back and forth, sitting up here talking about, this woman here, she's a bird, blah, 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 the bird. She's a hyena, blah, blah. Tired of all that bullshit. I want us to grow from all that. I want us to learn from our ways. The only way we're going to learn is for us to get understanding and clarity and accept it for what it is. God on His truth. Now, also, like always, when y'all come over here, I just don't be coming live just to be saying stuff without knowingly holding us accountable, but also giving solutions. Whenever you come over here at the lounge, I'm always going to give you solutions, how to deal with situations. In this particular situation that we're talking about tonight, about coping, what would be the solution behind this, Urban? The solution is this. First of all, I had learned this. Through my process of recovery, I learned that I had to recover physically first. Because when I was married, and I know that other men could relate to this, right? When I was married, right, I literally lost myself. I wasn't as healthy as I was prior before I got married. When I was married, I literally sacrificed myself because I felt like that was the right thing to do, because my duty is to protect and provide. So I ended up losing myself. I used to be healthy, lifting weights and everything, you know what I'm saying? Working out, all kind of stuff. But I ended up losing that. So a solution to this is that you have to recover physically first. That meaning that you got to get back to the point of eating healthy. Not so you could be chosen by a woman, because some of y'all dumbasses be doing this. Y'all, the moment when you get out of the relationship, right? And this is just relationships, period. The moment when you get out of a relationship, you decide to go back to the gym. I'm going to go back to the gym so I can look good and stuff for the next woman. No. You go back to the gym and you become healthy, not for a woman. You do it for yourself, because you matter. You are important. You can't do nothing if you're not healthy. That means eating healthy. That means lifting weights. That means walking. That means sleeping properly. That means drinking more water. That means reducing your alcohol content. Because some of y'all was in relationships and you became a goddamn alcoholic over this woman. Improve your diet. I learned that I had to mentally recover too. I learned that it's okay seeking for help. Meaning that it's okay to go out and vet properly of a counselor or a therapist or some type of support group or some type of mentorship. It is okay to have that. So I seek that out. I started going back and reading more, learning more, getting more knowledge of everything. I started writing in my journal more. A matter of fact, a lot of my songs came from my journal that y'all hear. Y'all familiar with my channel, and I do songs and stuff, right? A lot of my songs came from my journal that I had wrote of my experiences. Some of y'all need to do that. Y'all need to journal. Y'all need to write your experiences down. Write them down. Reestablish your friendships. Because some of y'all sacrifice your friendships over a woman. Even with your financial, right? Deal with financial recovery. I learned how to budget more. I learned how to get rid of unnecessary debt. I started learning to do what is known as gaining residual income. I learned to build an emergency fund. And the most important part is that I learned to stop emotionally spending for no apparent reason. When it's dealing with me being a father, I learned to constantly stay present in my children's life, no matter what. Stay consistent. Stay involved as long as the opportunity presents itself. Keep your promises and show up. Oh, and here's another thing too. Make your yes be yes and your no's be no's. Meaning this. If it's something that you know you can't commit to with your children, you need to let that be made known, even if it hurts their feelings. You need to let it be known versus you saying you're going to do something and don't commit to it. Because by you doing that, it's going to hurt them way worse than you telling them either yes, you can do it or no, you cannot do it. And then on top of that, right, you got to understand that the woman who you procreated with, they're going to wait for any opportunity to talk down on you. So the moment when you commit something to them and you don't do it, guess what she's doing? She's speaking in their ear. See, I told you. In my spiritual recovery, I learned to reconnect with my faith, whatever that was. I learned to reconnect with my purpose. I learned to discipline myself even more. I learned to hold myself accountable for all the bad choices and decisions that I had made and learn from them. And I pause there for a reason because I want y'all to really just think about that and just gravitate towards that. Because holding yourself accountable is very, very important. Oh, and here's another thing, to a bonus thing. I also had learned to forgive not just her, but I had learned to forgive myself. Because when I was going through that whole situation, I was even mad at myself because I was that dumb to make this choice. That ignorant to make this choice and decisions. So I learned to even forgive myself. So everything I want to present it to you tonight, brothers, these are the things that you can do as well too. And these things that I'm mentioning right now, I know I'm talking about coping with divorce, but these things could be universal principles, okay? You just be in a normal relationship or whatever, or not, or whatever. You could be getting out of a relationship. You could be dealing with a relationship that seems like you're married. But these things I'm sharing with you, it's universal. It could be a universal principle that you can get out of this. So just like the both of the last dudes mentioned, right, about that comeback, right, that comeback is going to happen as long as you're being persistent about it, as long as you don't give up. Trust me, it's going to get better. I am a living witness of it. And I'm here tonight to share with you that it is going to get better, brothers. And I'm here to share with you that your mental health matters. It does. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. So other than that, brothers, that is all I have for this particular episode. Once again, appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope that this episode I share with y'all, it give you just a different perspective where you could think about it. And it is my hope that something that I share with y'all tonight will help you, you know what I'm saying, in your everyday life, all right? Now, one last thing too, a lot of my brothers say this all the time. They say we're urban. Well, do you recommend marriage and stuff? Do you think this modern day marriage is for us? The answer to their question solely is contingent on you. Some people believe that marriage could be successful. My other brothers believe that no, marriage is a scam and I don't want to do it. If you believe that marriage is successful, you could do it, then by all means do it. But make sure you're doing it strategically. And you're doing it right. You're learning. You're understanding. So you won't get caught up. If you are the brothers who's saying that marriage is not for you, that is also fine and acceptable as well too. As long as your mindset ain't based on a past traumatic relationship experience. Meaning that you mad at this chick and now you mad at everybody. But you're doing it because that's something you want to do. You want to live your life. And there's nothing wrong with it at all, period. So once again, appreciate y'all for tuning into the stream. I appreciate the super chat for tonight, and I appreciate everyone who's catching the replay of the stream as well too. Now, if you want more of this thought-provoking conversation, make sure that you are sub up to this channel so you can catch me going live and giving out this information. And once again, this is Men's Mental Health Month. I will be doing more episodes talking about men's mental health because y'all matter, brothers. Y'all do. Your mental health matters. All right. So appreciate y'all tuning in, and I will see y'all again on the next episode. Appreciate everybody who came out and support the stream as well too. Keith Harris was so with it, brother. Drake was so with it. S. Bonner and everybody else who was in the chat, including my moderator. Shout out to y'all, and I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much, and y'all have a great and wonderful night.